as I think I overheard you say, you got into this race, I believe, last year when it seemed like you were going to go up against Steve Tilley, who had a huge money advantage. He dropped out of the race, and now it's become probably the most unusual race in recent memory, both sides. My question is, how are you going to distinguish yourself first in your primary, and then if you win your primary against whoever comes out of the Republican side?
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's what I think about primaries. I have been traveling the state since 2005. I know I've been to every county more than once, not just in terms of the audit stuff, but when I ran the first time for state auditor, I traveled extensively, and I traveled again. So one of the things about a primary is that the people who go out and vote are the people who understand there is a primary and what's going on. And so the more outreach you do, the better chance you have of winning a primary. So I think I'm better known. I know that having been in the race now for a number of months has given me an advantage as well. Now for November, which is really what we're concentrating on, everything that we're doing today is set up to make sure that people understand the issues. Our webpage went live yesterday, so we're detailing the things that we think are important to the office. I'm going to be continually updating it with issues as they come up, as well as where we're going and more outreach that we can do. The thing that I had said earlier today that I think that you should concentrate on when you look at who you want to elect to lieutenant governor is who do you trust if the need would arise to be put into the governor's office. And I think that the things that I bring are going to show that I would be the best person for that, and that's across the board for all of the parties that have candidates.
Now, out of the Democratic candidates, you're the only person who has won statewide, and you've also lost statewide.
I have.
Do you think that, I've noticed before there have been people who have lost statewide who've come back and done better the second time. Do you think that your 2010 race, from what you've learned from that, is going to help you this time around?
I do. I'll tell you what, I learned a lot more from the loss in 2010 than I learned from the win in 2006. Now, one of the things is that the loss in 2010, my loss and across-the-board losses had a lot to do with the overall Democratic message. And that's one of the things that I tried to lay the groundwork to correct by stepping in as chair of the Democratic Party. We have a better outreach and a better ability right now to get messaging out for having our base get out and vote. We won't have those same issues this year that we had in 2010. We didn't have money coming into the state for a get out the vote effort. We obviously are going to have that with the Senate race at the top of the ticket and lots of resources. In the same time, it's a presidential year. So some of the challenges that were not just for my race, but for all of the county officials we lost, or all the local races that we lost, were turnout. We won't have that. So then I can not worry about the things outside of my control and just concentrate on doing a better job at some of the things that we think we could have done in 2010.
Barring a miracle, it's most likely that the Senate is going to remain Republican in 2013. If you're elected, would you guide the Senate with a firmer hand as a Democrat and to maybe get that voice, the Democratic voice, more effectively in that chamber?
Well, I do think that we could benefit from having an adult in the room sometimes in the Senate, and that is not a party-centric remark. Sometimes in the legislature we've seen an awful lot of fighting that doesn't need to happen. Certainly, presiding over the Senate is something that I would take very seriously and try to make sure that we don't play some of the games that we see in the Senate.
Final question. You decided to hold your event in St. Louis City, which is a big Democratic stronghold. It was mentioned that you have a residence here. You run statewide here twice.
Yes.
How big do you think this area is going to be in determining both who's the nominee and who wins the entire thing?
Well, one thing about St. Louis is at least inside the cities, most of the local elections are determined in the primary. So we've got a built-in reason for people to turn out and vote in a primary, which means you'll have more primary voters in this area. Plus, St. Louis is the largest voting bloc in the state, so you definitely have to keep those things in mind. I kicked off my campaign here for a number of reasons. One, the mayor was gracious enough to introduce me, and we will travel the rest of the state. I mean, I have a residence here, but I also spend a significant amount of my time in Kansas City and St. Joseph. So I plan to get everywhere. So the fact that I kicked it off here doesn't mean I'm not going somewhere else.
Anything else to add?
I think that's it.
All right, thank you very much.